Commissioner Wingeter?
Here.
Commissioner McDowell?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Here.
Commissioner Keating? Commissioner Keating?
Matt?
Yeah, I'm here.
And Chairman Chadwick.
Here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
The resolution 3814 authorizing the transfer of county property to B&B Ventures LLC, which was tabled on 10/7 until tonight's meeting. I would entertain a motion to take it off the table.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
No discussion.
On removing it from the table, that would be correct. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. I now declare the public hearing open for resolution 3814. Authorizing the transfer of county property to B&B Ventures LLC. The hearing will be conducted in accordance with state statutes, rules of the Natrona County Commission, and other applicable laws. I would ask that those individuals who wish to address the commission to approach the lectern and state your name and address. May we have a report from staff?
Mr. Chairman, yes, for your consideration is a bid to purchase a lot 57 of Inglewood number 3, located north of Casper and east of I-25. It's in a subdivision which was platted in the 20s, I believe. County has had ownerships for about 18 years now. This plot was obtained via quitclaim deed from the former landowner. Once prior to that, the county had ownership of this lot pursuant to a tax deed. The bid amount is $3,600, I believe. I don't have it in front of me, and we knew we took public hearing testimony on this. I do have it in front of me. Last time, and no one spoke for or against the transfer of the property, and was it a report by the $3,692.50 for the purchase of the property, which is approximately 4 acres with road frontage on a road that has never been built out, as are all the roads in the subdivision have never been built out.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Knight. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of Resolution 3814 to please approach the lectern. For the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of Resolution 3814 to please approach the lectern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Paul Paad, 2781 Cherokee Lane. I guess I just want to put my 2 cents. Are we looking at the same, was this the same price? I know you guys wanted to go out there and look at a revalue. Are we looking at the same price that was listed last session in here? Okay, I don't think we had public comment last time, did we?
We did have a
I thought we tabled it before we went to public comment.
The motion after the public hearing was to table.
Well, I thought that was before the public hearing Wednesday. Anyways, I guess I just wanted to put my 2 cents in and say I think we ought to go through with this. I don't see, we're not doing anything with that. It could promote some tax revenue, and maybe somebody can start doing something out there. And once you get something, you know, it's like a seed, it starts growing an area. So I would be able to passing this resolution. Thank you.
Okay, hang on, Mr. Paad. Any questions for Mr. Paad? Mr. Paad, I do have one question. Do you think that the price then is accurate?
I think for that area it is. I think we're fine with that price. I don't see why. Well, the other option is to perhaps sit there and do nothing with it for how many more decades or years or whatever. You know, maybe on the open market, if there was something going on in that area, a little more activity. I think the purchaser's gonna end up with a good deal on this, but I think it's a good deal for us as well that it gets it off the county freebie basically, and gets something generating in that area. And again, I guess my opinion is that hopefully they see spawns more activity in that area. Every little bit helps, I think. So I think in the long run that will definitely be to the betterment of the county on the revenue side.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, and at this time I would ask any other individuals who wish to speak in favor of Resolution 3814 to please approach the lectern. And for the third and final time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of Resolution 3814 to please approach the lectern. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of Resolution 38-14 to please approach the lectern. And for the second time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of Resolution 3814 to please approach the lectern. And for the third and final time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition of Resolution 3814 to please approach the lectern. There being no one or no others to speak for or against the Resolution 3814, I now declare this public hearing closed.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we approve the sale of this land in a total of $3,692.50.
Would you care to include the resolution number in your
Oh,
motion?
you want the resolution number? Okay, the resolution number, excuse me, 38-14.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, this land that's been sitting idle has done nobody any good, and this way it gets back in the tax rolls. We're going to put this land to use. I mean, the party that's purchasing this land, and we're going to get some. The land will be back in the tax rolls. I think that's good. It will help out the county.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Henry?
I heard the other day, or heard today, I guess, that there was a bid on some land close to this at about $500 an acre. This works out about $800 an acre, so I think it's a good deal for the county. It's a good deal for the individuals up there. Maybe they'll get something going.
Commissioner McDowell, anything? Okay. We have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, public comments. Anyone having any comments for the commissioners this evening, please approach the lectern and state your name and address.
Paad, 2781 Cherokee. So much to say, so little time. Quick question, there are meetings being kept at the work sessions, correct?
And
Why are these not published? Is there a reason why they don't publish these? Minutes?
Work sessions are not required, but they are available to the public.
The minutes? The minutes, or just the entire recording?
Both.
Okay, because I just wonder why they weren't published on that.
Yeah, they're not. The work sessions are not required to be published.
Okay, and I noticed that on the agenda on the work session agenda for the 7th, there was no mention on the agenda that you were going to consider basically changing the budget that you just approved. You started talking about that when you started talking about our salaries changes and such. Is that not changing the budget? Because you started discussing changing county attorney salaries and things like this.
We as commissioners have to have opportunity to be able to discuss those issues amongst ourselves, and that is the opportunity. That's the only time we can do it, because it has to be done in public. So that is our only opportunity to do it, and then, of course, if and when we bring forth a resolution, then of course that comes to this meeting.
Okay, so then, I was just kind of curious why it wouldn't have been on the agenda, I guess. Expanding on that same point about the county attorney's salary, those salaries are set, if you will, by state statute. And it's my understanding, maybe I'm wrong, but I think county attorney's already maxed out. So, if you put him back on to the bonus thing that you had him on before, is that a violation because you'd be paying him over the maximum allowed by state statute?
It has come to our attention that we cannot exceed the district attorney's
Correct.
salary. So we'll not be able to do that. Again, remember, that's a work session. That's what we're discussing. So it's not official until it comes through on the contract in December.
Well,
So
I
it's a
understand,
discussion,
Mr.
and that's what the work sessions are about.
I understand, Mr. Chairman. I guess my concern was that he was on the bonus, for lack, I don't know the official term yet. It was a bonus plan, a one-term or one-time bonus payment in lieu of a raise for the, like, department heads and things like this. Is that bonus then considered part of his salary and therefore you wouldn't be able to pay that? Or is that in addition to his salary?
He is not qualified for the bonus.
Okay, that's
Because he's
what
already met the cap, the statutory cap.
that's what I was just curious if you could go back on that or which way you had to go on that. One last point.
Continue, please.
One last point, I'll make it very quick here. So, I've obviously made no secret that I've had problems with the zoning change that went on. Just asked to see if anybody on the board or the attorneys could possibly look in the zoning regulations to find out anywhere that would allow this board to make a zoning change without a properly filed application, because basically that's what happened in this case. The application, once it's been voted on, that application is no longer in effect. Zoning regulations require a new application to be filed, so. And with that, I'll end.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Paad? Okay, are there any other public comments?
Comfy at home. And then I listen to your video, your audio.
And Judy, let me, something that we're all over 50, and we don't all have hearing aids. Sometimes we don't hear you very well. We just can't hear, we just sometimes don't understand what you're saying, so it sometimes gets by.
Maybe go slower.
And that might help a little.
Yeah, I'm from Detroit, and we talk fast back east, so I'll try to keep within this 3-minute deal here too. I just wrote it out real fast so that we can rock and roll through it.
And did we get your name and
It's Judy Jones, 335 North 8 Mile, Casper, Wyoming. Commissioners, Chairman, have a few questions, statements for you tonight, and if you'll hold your answers until I'm finished, I'd appreciate it. I was listening to your work session from October 7th, and a few things really stood out to me as questionable practices. The example, the commission allowed Mr. Knight to continue to sit in on the discussion of a possible 10% raise and wage increase for him and Ms. Malone. Why was he not excused so that the board could discuss this freely? I heard Mr. Wingerter try to say something along this line, but got the bums rushed by Mr. Chadwick when he replied Knight would not participate in the discussion, so it's okay for him to be here, is what he said. I have a problem with this. The way it was handled for a couple of reasons. It would have not been best to discuss this in an executive session when all commissioners could have a thorough discussion of Mr. Knight's performance, his record of cleaning up old caseloads and various other items that could and should be used to judge the merits of a justification for a raise. Secondly, with Knight in the room, how could any one of the commissioners object to the figures without appearing cruel or unkind to Mr. Knight? They could not. Each commissioner has an equal say in hiring and appointing, and it should have been done in an executive session. Now, that's just my opinion. I just think, you know, you guys are gonna, I wouldn't do it. If I was having an employee, you know, and I was debating whether I wanted to keep him on or give him a raise, I sure wouldn't let him sit in a room with us. You know, I want to talk to my husband about that long before I go letting somebody in on it. And then you have something else to consider. If not for the purity and the free, open frankness of the discussion amongst the board members, how could you come to a real conclusion or a justification for any raises or denials? Also, I want to bring up that he had just gotten a raise back in 2013, and most of your county employees only get a raise about every 5 years, and it's usually 2 or 3 or 4%. And my last phone, your public meeting, Mr. Paad was speaking and held to the 3-minute limit, and I expected he would be, as I expected, he'd be cut off. If you look around the room tonight, there isn't that many people. Anybody could talk 10, 15 minutes and still be right on time with you guys. When you let your opinions be heard, by the people. This 3-minute ordeal is just flat out ridiculous, guys. I mean, we have usually, 5, 7 people in here, unless it's some big topic. Then I can understand that you're doing the 3-minute limit. You know, so what's the point of us coming in here if we're going to be shut down? And most of us are pretty cool about things. You know, we're bringing up what really bothers us and trying to help you lead us better. So with that, I'll close, and I'll ask that you repeal that 3 minutes. Get it out of there. Whoever thought of it was an idiot. You know, and city does it because they have 50 people talking all the time. We don't. And we're talking about our land use rights. We're talking about our property rights. I couldn't say anything in 3 minutes except for something derogatory. Thank you.
Commissioner McDowell?
Yeah, let me, and I understand your sensitivity for discussing salaries and performance in public. One of the things that this commission's done that has been, if anything, applauded by those that oversee us, predominantly the press, is making those tough calls in public. We have a responsibility to, as individual commissioners, to be frank and straightforward in dealing with not only our employees, but also the public. I do not find, although uncomfortable at times, I think it is a responsible way to talk about our performance expectations for all county officials in the public and not necessarily in executive sessions. Executive sessions should be reserved for personnel matters which are more contentious and generally deal with subpar performance. So, you know, it's an open situation. We have responsibility as commissioners to state what we believe and what our decisions are. Probably the most uncomfortable we have been was when you have to choose amongst 3 individuals who have been nominated for appointment to fill a public office that was vacated, which we have done twice, in which you have to sit there in front of them and say, I'm going to choose, for these reasons, I'm going to choose this individual over the other 2. I think it's a good part of the process. It's part of the responsibilities of open government.
Thank you.
Can I redress?
Sure.
In your, sorry, Judy Jones, 335 North 8 Mile. In your executive sessions, which is, I assume, you guys are getting a new handbook. I'd like a copy of that. And then I want something on how your bonuses work. Because I really want to understand what you guys do up here, because I do have quite a bit of influence in this town with people. And I want to make sure I'm giving them good, accurate, solid information. Okay, to your executive session, See, now, it says in this, and this is like your municipal handbook, and I assume it's the same, because I looked at your commissioners, and it's pretty much the same. And it says most times that when you're discussing salaries and stuff, that is held amongst you commissioners. My only point to that is that you were speaking of Mr. Knight. And I would think that if you're talking about retaining his services or giving him a raise, you wouldn't allow him to be in the room with you, or at least ask him to remove himself. I mean, I wouldn't do it with my employees. I would say, hey, Terry, come on in here, we're gonna talk about your raise and all your screw-ups, and then we'll see if we're gonna give, you know what I mean? It makes it uncomfortable for some of you.
I can understand the issue as being a private employer. The problem is we're government.
Oh, well, it's up to you, run your way.
What we've had is, we've had all of our salaries are published in the paper twice a year.
Oh, yeah.
So
Did you
there's
feel
no-
all right with them doing that, discussing it with you in the room? I'm just kind of curious.
I actually left. I was not in the room for almost all the discussions. If
Well, I
that's
thought I
not,
heard you about 5 minutes after they talked to that. I'll have to listen to the tape again. But
I,
honestly, did you feel comfortable in kind of talk? What if Terry's well, that bumbling idiot, you know? He wouldn't be able to say that. He would, it hinders your ability to really put the information out there to your others. That's my only point on it. I know I just couldn't do it in business.
Yeah, and as much as I started this discussion, I don't feel hindered.
Well, there's 4 others, I guess.
Well,
I mean, you're not the only one.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I'm comfortable saying exactly what I believe in public.
Well, don't you think you should have took a vote on that? Is everybody okay that, Knight sits in the room or something?
Well,
I don't know, it's something for you guys to think about, talking amongst yourselves, but to me, it just struck me as, I don't do it with my employees, because I don't want them to know, well, hey, he screwed up that truck, maybe we shouldn't give him a 10% raise, maybe we should only go 4 because he cost us some money with that one, you know what I mean?
Commissioner Henry?
On other boards that I've been on, this board particularly, if I had a problem with having him in the room when we were talking about that, I would immediately ask the chairman
Well,
to
Terry
have an
did.
executive session.
Terry did, he said, what'd you say, Terry? Something like, shouldn't we discuss
If I remember
this?
right, I did say something to the effect, well, you want to talk about this in an executive session? I don't know
Yeah,
exactly how
Chadwick
I
just
said it.
steamrolled right
But
over
I was
you.
wondering why Bill was there. It's
Your
it's in the
words,
minutes.
your words were,
It's in the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, he's sitting right here, and I said, yes, he is.
No, his words were, I just listened to it an hour before I came in, shouldn't we discuss this? And then you cut him off and said that it's okay because he's not gonna participate in the discussion.
Well,
And that's
at
word for word,
any
guys.
time, any commissioner can say, we move to executive session for a personnel matter.
Maybe
That's
that's what you
Terry's
should have
office.
said, Terry.
Should have said it
You
twice.
should have said that, Terry, because you're gonna have to stand up. You're just gonna have to. People are just so tired of being run over because you guys are afraid to hurt each other's feelings or, get on the outskirts with another one. This is not a buddy club. You are our elected officials. And I'm gonna hold you accountable for it. So, thanks.
Did we answer your second question?
No.
Did we answer your second question?
I forgot it now. We get trailed off somewhere else.
So I think that was about the handbook and
Yeah.
getting a copy of the handbook.
Yeah, that's
And I
it.
believe that is available online, isn't it?
No, it's not available yet.
It may only be internal.
The board-
Gonna be a-
Oh, and the bonus thing too. I wanted to know about the bonus thing, how that works.
Can I respond to that?
Yeah.
Because that was part of the deal. The percentage of increases that we provided for all county employees,
Okay,
this past year, which I can't remember, was 2 or 3%. For directors and chief deputy, for directors, of departments, and for sergeants and those chief deputies
Okay,
of the elected officials, that percentage amount of those salaries was set aside. This is the first time we've done this. We're going to sit down along with the other elected officials
okay.
and make the argument in the room about who deserves increases, a piece of that pie and how much, and we're gonna split it up that way. That's based upon what we perceive as merit for senior level officials. So that's what it's gonna be. How it's gonna turn out, I can't tell you.
No, I appreciate your answer, though.
And,
It's honest, it's open.
one of the considerations, because we also, asked in the 2% salary raise that we provided across the board, we asked consideration be given by department directors to address what they perceived inequities that may have occurred over time among their staff. And that would be a consideration, one of the main considerations on how we awarded out the bonus dollars.
Can I ask one more question? Now with the bonus thing, you've explained that very well. I appreciate that. I can't wait to see it in print. I understand better by reading. Secondly, you guys mentioned in that October deal that it was going to also apply to non-elected board members, like joint powers boards. No, so we're killing that. Appreciate
It was
that.
never part of it.
Well, I'm just saying what I heard
Yeah.
in your meeting that you guys were talking about. It wouldn't be just elected officials in on this bonus. It would
It would not
also
be,
be,
it would not be elected officials. Our salaries are set.
right?
They do not participate in the bonus pool. Their chief deputies.
Okay, then I just misunderstood on the tape. All right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, do we have any other public comments? Commissioner comments?
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Jones mentioned about the 3-minute deal. Well, I did bring it up in the work session earlier. I've been receiving several comments, people that I've talked to, not everybody, but several of them have mentioned the 3-minute deal, and they're kind of upset about it. But I think if people talk to us and if they have something very important to say, and if they talk to us in a civil way, I think it's, of course, the chairman runs the meeting, but I'm pretty sure that the chairman will use his, he'll make allowances if they're not done with their subject, as long as they don't ramble on and on and on. At least that's how it was confirmed to me, and